All right, so we're here in module number 4, deliverability best practices. In this module, we're going to talk about the best practices about being an email marketer. And these are intermediate to advanced techniques that you should implement into each and every email you send. We talk about the way that Gmail scores and how it comes from senders and understanding it. So first thing we need to really talk about and understand deliverability is to first start off by explaining and understanding junk box. From there, we'll start talking and break down 5 different things you should be doing to increase your deliverability to make sure that you are delivering the best practice that you can to maximize your inbox. Now, remember when it comes to email deliverability, 50% of it is actually on the technology. That's the company that you're trusting your email marketing to. And 50% is back on you, the marketer, the person that's writing that email. So it's not a perfect synergy where, no matter what you do, it's always going to be perfect on one side or the other side. What you got to be doing is creating that best practice in the middle where you're doing your best job and making sure that they're doing their best job and maximizing. So let's first talk about that junk box and let's talk about what each and every message out there means. Now, there's a bunch of different messages that you can see in your inbox, but the first one I want to show you is very simple. This is from my inbox. This is actually from a hotel. This is the email that I received, and the thing that I want you to look at is it says, why is this spam? Why is this message in spam? It's similar to the message that are detected on our spam filters. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, I've seen these inboxes when it goes to my spam. Why is it actually triggering? Let me explain why it's triggering, and this will be a little bit better of an education of understanding it. So when this happens, this means it's content driven. Why is the message in spam? It's similar to messages that are detected by our spam filters. This is actual content inside your email that's causing that spam. Now, it could be anything. It could be that they've used this email multiple times. It could be that there's some spam trigger words that are going in here, such as like all this stuff about celebrating and so forth and all these extra things they're getting. It could be the dollars, or least but not least, it could just be that people aren't engaging with this email, meaning that they probably haven't cleaned their list successfully either. That's actually why I created a whole module in module 7 about this, because it's so important to clean your list so that this doesn't happen because of that. All right. So let me show you that second example. That second example is very simple. Now you'll notice here it says, why is this message in spam? We found a lot of messages from OS Dealer Fuel are spam. Now this is from Audi San Diego. This is my local Audi dealership to where I live. And this is happening to their emails. And what this means is the ESP, or the email service provider, which in this case is osdealerfuel.com, is actually having a problem delivering these emails for you, which means that, remember I talked about earlier, the first 50% is on the company and 50% is on you as a content. The Audi has done their job in at least giving as best content as they can. This is now a problem on the actual company itself. So this is something you want to talk to or communicate to that email service provider. Now, the last or not least one here is very simple. It says, be careful of this message. Similar messages have been used to steal people's information unless it's trusted. Do not click reply or the personal information, yada, yada, yada. Now, this one is happening is it's actually a trust issue on your website. Now, this could be linked back to your domain, your links that you're using, or actual content inside of your email. But most likely, if you visited your domain that you're going to, or your domain of your own website, so in this case, utm.edu.ec, or the actual link that they're trying to drop in here. Now, in this email, it looks like there's no link. One of those two things are triggering the spam filter on Chrome. You will see this only on Chrome because Gmail is owned by Chrome, Google is owned by, Gmail is owned by Google and Chrome is owned by Google, and what they tend to do is share that across their website. So if you visited this website, chances are you may get the big red warning security email saying that something's wrong, there's a bot, they're trying to spoof people, whatever it may be. So that's the third and last one that you may see. There's a couple other little ones that are out there and minor ones, but as they continue to evolve, you'll be able to explain it. Really, the only one that you got to worry about is that first one you saw. That one's talking about content. That's the one that's on your control. All right. So now let's jump into exactly how deliverability really works. And I want to talk about the things that you want to do to make sure that you are maximizing each and every person inside of your email marketing and how important that really is. So the first thing you want to make sure that you're doing, and this is something a lot of people don't do, is to make sure that you've got content and authority. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is Google actually places heavy relevance on your domain name that you're sending from. So if you're sending from @jimmykim.net or @sendlane.com, you got to make sure there's an actual correlated website that has great content about the product and niche. It also has information on how people are subscribing to your page and so forth. So the first thing you're going to see is you're going to learn that content content authority is super important. Two, you're probably wondering, oh, if that's a lot of work. Well, it's not a lot of work. With a lot of great plugins tools out there, it's really not easy to do. So I'm going to really just show you real quick in 3 simple steps how simple it is and how you can start creating that content. So one, you can jump into hosting. So if you're going to use WordPress, for example, I would recommend WP Engine. Includes SSL and it's secure. It's $20 a month. I think it's a great product, okay, for your hosting needs. I tend to say if you're going to be using WordPress, especially most people out there that are looking for it, WordPress is a very insecure platform. Using a host like GoDaddy or one of these HostGators and stuff, you're probably not going to be doing the best job for you. Use WP Engine if you're going to be using WordPress. Outside of that, if you're using another platform, then you don't have to worry about that. You can use your favorite hosting that you want. Secondly, go ahead and jump on the Fiverr, Upwork, and grab someone to install a great theme. $100 will get you a great theme, a web page, a baseline setup, okay? Then you need to grab content. You'll go on iWriter, Upwork, Freelancer, Facebook groups, and find great content writers for your niche. 500 words will cost you anywhere from $50 to $100, all the way up to 500 plus, depends on the quality. If you're a writer, then great, you'll save some money as well too. And then last but not least, you'll start releasing that content on a schedule, and you'll be able to start talking and communicating to your email list at the same time about it as you build that. And you can always refer back to that. It's something you can talk about in the next module. We talk about in module 6, we talk about nurture and convert, and I'll talk about a lot more deep about that content that you're creating here. So just remember, with this, content is king. It's super important to be a part of content and sharing that content. So you want to make sure that you're sharing that content to the best of your ability. The next thing we talk about is cloaking. We're talking about tracking your links and why it's so important to hide those links. Now, cloaking can be used and determined as both a negative word and a positive word. When I'm talking about it, I'm talking about giving you the full control of that link that you need. So a typical URL looks something like this. I'm sure you've seen these before. They're hideous. They're ugly. You're going to mask it with something that says click here, whatever it may be. That's what you end up masking with it. Ignore this arrow. That's not supposed to be part of the email, but that's just talking about the call to action. Now, what happens when you have a great way of tracking and cloaking your link? And I'm going to talk about free and paid tools at the end of this little part here, so don't worry. We're going to be able to track each and every click. That means that we know where every click is, who the click is coming from, the subscriber, and so forth. You're going to be able to change links on the fly. Let's just say you promoted something and it didn't do that well, or it's not converting well. You've got a second page you want to try out, test. You can change that. You can redirect people based on their actions, maybe based on their device, their location, how many times they've clicked on the email, and so forth. It'll really let you control that experience for them. And of course, it creates security for that link. If you have a link that looks really ugly, this allows you to clean up that link to make it look a lot prettier. It also makes people trust that email a lot better. So the tools that I recommend are very simple when it comes to tracking your link. There's cool tools that are paid tools like ClickPerfect, ClickMagick, or ClickMeter. There's ones that are like Bitly or Google Link Tracker that aren't as secure but are absolutely workable. They don't let you give the full functionality that are out there. And then there's self-hosted ones like WordPress-based ones that you can use, that you can download and install on your website that you have to track that click to and do a lot of the different things. So you need to do your research and figure out which one you like the most and which tools you think you need for your marketing. That whole idea of controlling or cloaking your link, it gives you that maximum control. Now, let's talk about the best time to send emails. Sending emails is a thing that people continue to talk about, continue to ask, when is the best time to send that email? Now, I'm going to tell you about the metrics, but then I'm going to give you 2 options of how this also can work for you. So the main metric is very simple. Based on billions of emails, the way that people have said is very simple. If you have no idea, send it between 8 and 9 a.m. and 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. I'm talking about New York time, okay? I know you're thinking if you're in Australia or you're somewhere else in the world going, well, why wouldn't I send it my own local time? Well, again, I'm going to talk about those other options, but in this case, if you're working in a worldwide community, you should be thinking about those 2 time frames. Those are the time frames that work absolutely the best, all right? Option 2, based on when you train your tribe, okay? So this is an option. When I say train your tribe, is based on the number of emails you're sending. You tend to send those emails. If you're a professional and you're sending emails at an exact certain time, that would be 1 a.m. in the morning, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, or 7 p.m. in the night, just make sure you're consistent. If you're consistent and you train your tribe to open emails at that time, you're going to be better at being able to do that email. Okay, so make sure you try it. I've seen some great people who send emails when they want to at the exact same time that they think is best, whether it be midnight, 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever, and do absolutely great. So there is an option for that, but of course, if you train and engage with your audience, they're going to open that email no matter what. Option 3 is very simple. Let your automation handle it. There's 2 ways when I talk about automation handling it. One, based on their current workflow situation. So we talked about how a person's in a workflow. So the chances are the time they purchased, they gave you their email, they opted in, whatever the way you collected that lead, that exact time. So let's just say at noon every day, they opted in. That's actually probably the best time to email them. So if you're using automation heavily and important, it's very, very important to maximize that by making sure that you're keeping that timing right, by keeping that zone right. But every 24 hours, making sure that you email them exactly at noon when they opted in is very important. Or you can use optimized timing. That's a feature that's available in most email servicing providers. It opens or sends emails based on the time that the user is most likely going to open that email. So that's the other option when you come to it. There is no best or worst option. It's all based on exactly how you're going to be emailing your customers. But what I like to say is try to find the time that works best for you so that you're scheduling ahead of time and being able to email and maximize it for you. For example, for me, I know that I send emails at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's when I send those emails, and I do very well based around those. So it really just depends on what you want to do, what business, and how you're working on it. Now, the biggest thing that I talk about here, and this is number 4, is we talk about metrics, the things that you should be looking for in your business. What are is? So traditional look of metrics people look at is how big is your list, how many people clicked, how many people haven't subscribed, and that's not bad. That's a pretty decent number that you need to be looking at as well too. But what I like to look at is more how many people are engaging with you, how many people are importantly looking at your emails, how many people are opening your emails, how many people are clicking your emails, how many people are replying to your emails, right? The number 1 metric when it comes to email marketing is open rates, okay? Open rates means the number of people that are opening your email. And in fact, there's 2 different types of open rates. There's unique and raw, okay? Unique and raw are 2 different types of email rates, right? Unique means an exact number of people that opened it. Raw is how many times people have opened it. Most of the times you see 10 to 20% difference between the unique and raw. And the reason why you're seeing that is very simple, because people tend to open your emails multiple times. So focus on that. Focus on how they're opening it and how they're clicking on that link. A minimum open rate when we see open rates on the email is minimum 10 to 15%. I like to see an average of 15% or higher, with industry standards being at 20% plus now. You need to be thinking about how many people are opening that email, and if you're not getting 10 to 15%, you may be not doing a great job nurturing it. It could be your traffic quality, it could be list exhaustion, it could be all sorts of different things. So we talk about that a lot deeper and further in module number 7 and module number 6. So keep an eye out for how that works, and we'll talk also about how you can improve that in module number 5. Okay, now last but not least, the most important thing that I talk about that I cannot stress enough is testing. And I'm not talking about testing like split testing. I'm talking about testing, actual inbox testing. Let's test inbox number 1. So here's what I tell people to do, and I'm going to explain the steps real simple right now. Number 1, you're going to open up 5 free email accounts. Gmails, Yahoos, whatever. In this case, since we're talking about Gmail, go open up 5 Gmails. It doesn't have to be something special. Put your name, your last name, 11559912. Just putting a bunch of numbers behind it. It's just an email box that you're never going to give out. You're only going to use for your internal testing. Just keep it easy. For me, I like to call it like tester Jimmy Kim test 1 at gmail.com, Jimmy Kim test 2 at gmail.com, and so forth. And what you're doing is you're opening up multiple emails. This will allow you to send those emails accordingly to make sure that you're inboxing when you're doing your testing. So when you're doing that testing, is very simple. You're going and using the testing features on step 2 of this testing. You're going to jump into your favorite email service platform, hopefully SendLane in this case, and you'll be able to hit the test feature and send all 5 of those email accounts a test email. And what you're doing when you're sending that test email is very simple. You're seeing if it lands in what inbox and if it's inbox or spam. If you don't have more than 3 out of your 5 inboxing in whatever tab you're trying to get into, then you need to start adjusting different things. So you would be starting to tweak your body. I would start with your subject line, then your body, your links, your domain. You've got to go ahead and go through all the things, and we'll talk about that a little bit further in another module. But creating the best test environment for you, so you can start seeing how the email looks, how it's getting reacted to. Now, couple key metrics: don't open those emails. If you don't open the emails that are landing in your inbox, the important part is you just wanted to make sure they're there. And why I say you don't open them is very simple, because you're actually looking at them in an environment where you're hoping that someone is getting that email each and every time, not creating a behavioral inside your Gmail. Number two is you want to look at where it's landing, what inbox or tab is landing in, because you're using such fresh inboxes. Just because all your emails are ending up in inbox and primary now does not mean your subscribers are going to get that as well too. So please remember that as well too. And that's it. Those are the best deliverability practices that you should be looking for your email marketing. Now, some of these are a little bit more advanced. Some take a lot more thought process, but in the sake of time and understanding, and I went ahead and did it. Obviously, you want to start thinking about this a little bit deeper. Everything I talked about is very important. There's great information on the web to really explain how that really works. But as you continue to work and learn, we've got a lot of great things that you can learn about when it comes to testing. All right, we'll see you in the next module.